everybody, and welcome back to the Her Story TV and the Her Story podcast. This is Gertrude Mache here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another fascinating woman. Welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, how old you are, and share your story with us today.
Thank you, Gertrude. My name is JoAnn Stoneberg, and I am based in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and I am 59 years old. I guess a little bit about myself. So, I'm stuck. Okay. Yeah, a little bit about myself. So I'm JoAnn Stoneberg, and I grew up in a normal family out here in Canada. And as I was growing up, I discovered that I had this innate ability to see beyond the veil. And as I got older, I understood this to be clairvoyance, a gift of clairvoyance. And I developed my gift by using the tools of astrology and the tarot. And I first came into astrology, my passion, when I was at a lecture. And one of the ladies there was talking about astrology. I went home and talked about, asked the universe. I went home and oh yeah, that astrology, that sounds fascinating. I'm really interested in that. And I asked the universe, I said, yeah, I want to learn astrology. And the universe opened up its big universal doors, and everything astrology fell out. I took classes, found books, people, everywhere I turned, astrology. I went to many conferences over the years. And as I developed my skill in astrology, I understood that the importance of the symbolism of astrology and how it made us understand more about who we are as people, how all the planets worked for us, the archetypes and the behaviors and the characters of all the planets, and how they work for us personally and in our daily lives and throughout our lives as well. I gravitated towards evolutionary astrology in knowing where the soul comes from. So looking at astrology from the technique of looking at where the soul comes from, how the soul comes into this life, our obstacles, our challenges that we face, all our life's ups and downs. But not only that, the resolution and how to work with those energies of the planets and helping us to grow and evolve and to change as human beings on a soul level, on a physical level, on a personal level, and spiritually. So part of my journey too, being an intuitive and a sensitive and an empath and a clairvoyant, my life was not always that easy. I did work downtown in Calgary in the oil and gas industry in accounting for 20 years. And that was definitely a blessing for me, as it helped me do all my studies and learning and really set me up financially as to where I'm at today. But it also too helped me to work with other people and really understand that side of life as well. And then that eventually came to an end in 2015, where I got laid off. There was big major layoffs happening during that time, and I was one of the people that got laid off, and that was a blessing in disguise. I was a little burnt out by that time of working in the corporate world, and wanted to get to doing my my astrology business. And before that, I always wanted to do my own astrology business, right? And so now I had the opportunity. But when I got laid off, I went into this tailspin. I went into this dark night of the soul where I was lost. I was confused. I didn't know which way I was going, who I was, what was I to do. I was in this, as I call it, I was in this ship in the middle of the ocean in the fog with no land in sight. And where was I going? What was I doing? I was lost. I was confused. I'd lost my job in 2015. My father passed away the following year. One of my cats passed away. I'd broken up with my boyfriend. So a lot of loss happened during that time period, over a 2-year period. So yeah, I was going through a lot of grief and a lot of heartache, and knowing astrology and all of the gifts that I had been bestowed on me throughout the years of all the different techniques that I had learned through all my trainings, ancient techniques and trainings and past life work and working with the ancestors and with ceremony and ritual, I was able to, eventually pull myself through that. And it was really funny because I have to laugh at myself now. Here I am scratching my head going, what am I going to do? Who am I? I don't know who I am. I'm lost. And I'm looking at other people. How do you know you're a yoga teacher? And how do you know you're an artist? Like, what makes you tick, right? How do you know you're a fireman? And how do you know you want to do what you do? And so one day I'm sitting watching a movie. And in the movie, this one of the actresses in there, she's a cake decorator. So I'm like, oh, that's what I'd love to do, be a cake decorator. So this inspired the artistic side of myself. Being in the corporate world was so left brain. I needed that right brain to bring the right brain back into life. So I quickly got online and I found a lady who lived like 5-minute drive from my house, who was doing a school, and took her full month course of learning how to cake decorate. And I actually taught for a year. Now, I was still doing my astrology and energy healing work, but unbeknownst to me, it wasn't my main focus. So the cake decorating and teaching for a year really helped bring back that creative side within myself that had been lying dormant for so long, that during my time in the corporate world. So I then went on to teach it, like I said, teaching for a year. And then I got to a point where, no, this isn't right. I have to do my astrology. This is where I'm wanted. This is where I'm needed. This is my passion. And finally, the universe and I got into sync together. And I finally stepped into being the astrologer, being the energy worker, being that sensitive person, and really stepping into using my gifts to help others work through their challenges and their dark night of the soul as well. So it's and ever since then, so the past 4 years now, I have been doing this full time, and I love everything that I do about it. I do lectures on astrology. I help people understand how to even use the simple techniques of just using the moon through the month, the full moon, the new moon, the first quarter moon, the full moon, the last quarter, and back to the full moon. How to use even just that simple cycle in your life to help you connect with yourself on an emotional level, to help change habits and behaviors. And my little analogy I like to use for that, just to give you a little example, is the new moon is setting up the party. The first quarter is sending out all the invitations, preparing for the party, ordering the food, maybe balloons, musicians, whatever you need for that party, caterers. And then the full moon is actually having the party. How are we relating to everybody at the party? Did our intention at the new moon play out as we wanted it to play out during the full moon? And then the last quarter, after the full moon, coming to the last quarter moon, is that cleaning up after the party, sort of looking at, okay, what did I need to learn? What needed to change? What do I want to do different going forward? And then we cycle back to the new moon. So just even using this without understanding the full-blown language of astrology, which I've been studying for 20 years, just understanding the simple technique of watching the moon through the month, from new moon to full moon and back to new moon again, and understanding and connecting more with our feeling energy and our emotional self. So studying astrology for the last 20 years has really opened my eyes to a whole different world and technique of looking at the world very differently, looking at it very symbolically. and really getting to the root issue or cause of why we are the way we are, and helping you to work through those ups and downs that we go through in life. And one of the things that I've discovered through all of my sessions and in my journey through astrology is most people between the ages of 52 and 58 is this really magical time period. We're not young anymore and we're not old anymore. And this time period between 52 and 58 is this time period where we're on that ship in the middle of the ocean, in the fog, with no land in sight. And this was where I was in my story. And it's this place of needing to learn to engage more with the right brain, the artistic brain, coming back into our natural rhythm of self, to accept ourselves with who we are as we grow and transition into an elder self, into a wiser self. It's also this acceptance and surrendering into this getting older, getting older and aging as we transition through our lives. And as we reach 58, this is when we will start seeing land. At 58, we will start seeing land. So as I said, I'm 59 now, and I've seen land, and I'm like, all right, there's the land. I'm now solid. I now know who I am and where I'm going. I'm so thankful for my journey through that time period between 52 and 58, helping me show and find myself. And this journey is almost like Alice in Wonderland in the rabbit hole, if you will. And so my journey still continues today as I continue to transition. Between the ages of 58 and 60, we transition just as we did between 28 and 30. There's this transition of turning a new page, starting a new chapter in our lives. And as we go through, we get, we mature, we grow, we evolve, hopefully. And we change our lives and start becoming more of who we want to become, if you're open to change, and remembering too that we still all have choice. So I also, life is a journey, life is a blessing, and there's so many choices and adventures that we all experience through our lives. And through astrology, I find that it really helps as a guide and as a tool to help us guide through this, navigating these waters of all these ups and downs and these emotions and our challenges and our obstacles throughout life. And and this is what I love about the language of astrology. It is just this beautiful, beautiful language that I like to share with everybody. And in sharing that, I have also started teaching astrology as well. And I teach this basic language to those who are wanting to learn it. So I do teach astrology, and I do give sessions in astrology as well. In my sessions, I use astrology and I use a technique which really hits home to understanding, like I said, why we are the way we are. And with astrology and in the astrology community, we're not sure quite how it works. We just know that it does. And there's a comfort in knowing, how we communicate and how we love and how we like to be nurtured, how we process our emotions, what our passions are, what our needs are, what our desires are in this world, and our themes. So thank you so much for listening to my story and sharing a little bit of my life with you. Thank you.
That is absolutely awesome. What I love about your story is this period in our lives when we are transitioning. When I created this podcast, my whole mission was to focus on women over 50. I had just turned 50 myself and kind of felt lost. I didn't know what I was anymore. I had gone through a divorce, so I wasn't a wife. My kids had grown up, so I wasn't quite the mother in the same way I used to mother my children. I had lost my business. I had to start a brand new career. And I've been asking women when they come on the show to say their name, where they're based, and their age for that reason. Because a lot of times women don't even want to own the age they're in. It's almost like society has made us feel ashamed for being older. But this is the wisdom years. This is the time when you really step into your own. So thank you for being here and showing up as you, as really a personification of what I've been trying to say to women all along, that we need to own this space. We need to take it back and be proud of it and step into the next phase of our lives. That's that age of wisdom. Now, if you could go back to a woman who's struggling with this right now, she's on that cusp, she's unsure. Based on what life has taught you, if you could give her 3 nuggets of wisdom, what would that be?
So the 3 nuggets of wisdom for that woman who's lost in the ship in the fog in the middle of the ocean would be to accept where you're at, to explore. Accept where you're at, to explore and think of life as an adventure, and to experience whatever catches your interest. Be curious. And that's what I did, is like, I got curious as to why people were the way they were, which helped lead me towards getting to know more of myself. So yeah, accepting where you're at and being curious and going out and experience what you need to experience during that time period.
I love the exploration piece, because you almost have to go back to a childlike state where you live in wonder and curiosity, wanting to know, wanting to explore what else is out there for me. What else can I do with my life? And not being afraid to explore as well, because fear is one of the biggest things that holds a lot of women back. We get very fearful, we get very scared, and just having fun with it, right?
Exactly.
Now, your analogy of using the ocean is again a very powerful metaphor for life. I've always believed that life is like the sea. It's like the ocean. It comes in waves. It's got those ups and those downs and those ups and those downs. And once you get used to just surfing the waves, life becomes easy. So in your rock bottom stages of your life, when your life has hit a rock bottom, what have you done to pick yourself up, keep yourself motivated, and to get up and keep going?
So for myself, is what I've done is I was fortunate enough to have some friends who kept, JoAnn, come on, let's go for a walk. Let's go for, okay. And dragged me out of the house to go for a walk. But not only that, it was reaching out and talking to people and expressing to say, hey, I'm not feeling so well. Can you come over and help me? Or I need help with this. It's about knowing that you're not by yourself, but to reach out to anybody, to just go out there and live life and do the rituals, but also giving yourself time to process as well, and know that it's okay to be tired and to sleep every once in a while, because as children, as Gertrude was saying, it's going back to that childlike curiosity and adventure state. We also need time to sleep to process. So it's all about getting curious again.
I love it. So now the last question I have for you is this. If time was an illusion and your past, your present, your future existed in the same timeline, and I could teleport you into the future to the 100-year-old you, that wise woman who has led you to this spot, and you're sitting with your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, surrounded by your dogs or your cats or your loved ones, and you could have a conversation with that wise woman, what would you say to her based on how you're living your life right now and how she's led you to that point?
So the wise woman talking to my younger self, she would say, hey, You're doing your best. You're doing awesome. Keep going and embrace all of life's trials and tribulations, and knowing that it's helping you to grow and to evolve and to experience all that life has to offer, the good, the bad, and the ugly, is what she would say to the younger JoAnn. And know that you have all the skills and abilities and talents, and to know that there is no fear moving forward. It just all is.
I love that. I love it. And it's true. You just have to feel the fear sometimes and do it anyway.
Yep.
That's probably the best way to live, is to just be in awe. Now, you are helping people obviously online. Now that we're living in an online age, I have your website running at the bottom of the screen. Is that the best way people can contact you?
Yes, it is.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, JoAnn, for showing up today and sharing your nuggets of wisdom. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in today. The Her Story movement is meeting some phenomenal women who are real game changers, who are changing the world one story at a time, one woman at a time. Step into your greatness. Don't be afraid, especially at this stage of your life. Get excited, because the best is yet to come.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Gertrude. It's been a pleasure.
Wonderful to have met you, JoAnn. Thank you, everybody. I'll be back again tomorrow with yet another amazing guest. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning or evening, wherever you are in the world, and bye for now.
Bye.
Thanks, JoAnn.
Thank you.